This is Jonathan Aguilar, fifth Pro Boxing Fans, joined by former three-weight world champion Duke Mckenzie here at Jukebox, not the YouTube channel, which is doing very well, but your gym here in London. Duke, good to see you. First of all, talk to us about your YouTube channel, Jukebox, doing really well with it. Talk to us how much you're enjoying it.
Yeah, the YouTube channel's going well. I must admit, it's taken me back a little bit because I didn't really know what to expect. And yeah, we're doing really well. We've got nice few subscribers, so it's coming together quite nicely. Just all about getting the right sort of content out there and just keep delivering the goods.
Yeah, and it's growing really well. You only started it a couple of months ago, but there's a lot of content for people to look at. So just type Jukebox into YouTube. Duke, you're standing behind some of your fight photos. I'm going to give you the mic. Just talk the fans through what the pictures are.
Okay. So this is me winning my first world title against Rolando Berhol, 5th of October 1988. At Wembley Conference Centre, as it was known then. It's not that anymore, they've changed it. But that's me. I stopped Berhol in 11 rounds. But you know what? This was such a fearful fight for me because it was my first challenge for a world title. And when they announced the fight, because Mickey Duff, my manager, was trying to get the WBC world champion, a guy called Sochi Talada, who came over here and beat Charlie Magri. And Mickey Duff was trying to get in because I was ranked number 1 in the world to fight him for about 11 months. And he'd been trying to get the fight, but the fight didn't materialise for whatever the reason. Probably wouldn't pay him enough money because he would have had to come over here to fight me. And probably didn't fancy it at that time. But anyway, so that fight didn't materialise. So then he switched his attentions to the IBF champion, Rolando Berhol. And Berhol was about 5'5", had muscles coming out of his ears. He looked like a little bodybuilder, just a little strong Filipino, little southpaw. And when we got to the weigh-in, I'll be deadly truthful with you, backside started twitching a little bit. Because when we got onto the scales and he stripped off, like I say, he had muscles coming out of everywhere, his ears, his neck, he had traps and everything. And I looked at him and I just thought, mate. And then I can remember my brother sort of whispering in my ear. He said to me, little man, that's what he used to call me, Dudley. He said to me, little man, he said, there's nothing to fear except fear itself. Don't fear this kid. He said, you can beat him like that. And believe you me when I say, whatever my brother told me, I believed him. I had no reason not to. But Dudley was like my confidence, basically. So once he did that to me, it was just a matter of turning up on the night. And back then, as they still do now, so you weighed in at, I think it was like 5 p.m. the evening before. And then you fought the next day. We didn't fight till 10 o'clock the following evening, like I say, at Wembley. And by then I'd put on about 4 or 5 pounds. So I was a little bit stronger than I would have been ordinarily. And yeah, it was a good fight. Stopped him in 11 rounds.
And what about that one over there?
So that's Wilfredo Vargas. So after moving up in weight from flyweight to bantamweight, I move up to bantamweight. That's the that's the second defence of my second world championship. So after beating Gabi Canizales for the world title, which was a career's best performance, not my hardest fight, but my career's best performance in beating Canizales, then I boxed Cesar Soto, another tough Mexican brother, beat him, and then I boxed Wilfredo Vargas at the Royal Albert Hall, and I stopped him, I think, in about 5. But he was pretty much tailor-made for me, if you know what I mean. Height, reach. I was a little bit taller, had a longer reach. Puerto Rican, good fighter. Came to fight, came to win, obviously. But I just had a little bit too much for him.
And I think you said that was your favourite fight.
This is my favourite photo. That's my favourite photo. So that's me winning my 3rd world title against Jesse Benavidez at the Lewisham Theatre, and against all the odds. And when I say against all the odds, I think only one member of the press turned up for the fight because it was odds on that I was going to get beaten because Benavidez had such a formidable record and was managed and promoted by Manny Stewart from the Kronk. another Kronk fighter. So I'm 2-0 against the Kronk boys because I beat Gabby Canizales, who was from the Kronk, in my bantamweight world title victory, and now I've boxed Jesse Benavidez for what would be my third world championship victory in 3 separate weights. And it was a tough fight, but like I say, it was a good fight. But this is my favourite photo. That's my brother Dudley lifting me after they've said, and the new world champion Mickey Duff. Look, he's just over the moon. That's the back of Benavidez' head. That's the late John Morris, the late Denny Mancini, and you can just see my coach's head, Colin Smith. You can just see him there. Colin was more happy than I was, obviously. So God rest his soul. Colin's no longer with us either. But I had a tremendous journey. I had a great career. I haven't got one regret.
Well, it's a really nice gym you've got here in Croydon. So, I'm sure if people want to get through their paces, do some boxing training with yourself, they can do. Is that correct?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah. Coming down to the Jukebox, 287 Brighton Road, South Croydon, CR2 6EQ. I'll put you through your paces.
And I imagine it'll be pretty tough. So, not for the faint-hearted. But Duke, got a couple questions to ask you about boxing. So, starting with...
First of all, when are you coming down? Because you said you were coming for a little workout.
What's that phrase? Yesterday I was lying. I will come down and have a session with you, Duke. But obviously, I want to talk about the current news. Yesterday, we found out that Derek Chisora and Deontay Wilder are on the verge of fighting in April, either at the O2 or Wembley Arena. What's your thoughts on that fight?
I think if Derek Chisora fights Deontay Wilder at the O2, I think I've gone against Derek Chisora probably 2 or 3 times previously. I might back him for this one because at the O2 they love that boy. Now I was at the O2 when Derek Chisora boxed Joe Joyce and was on the verge of getting stopped, and then he knocked Joe Joyce clean out. I don't think I've heard a roar like it, certainly not since Lennox Lewis got knocked out by Hasim Rahman in South Africa. Was that South Africa?
Yeah.
In South Africa. They took the roof off. Derek Chisora is a fan favourite, as they say, at the O2. So with hometown advantage, anything's possible. And he wants 50-0, doesn't he? He wants his 50th fight to be his last fight. Should he win, then he's talking about retirement. I'm not so sure that he will, but let's just hope he does.
A lot of people are saying that Deontay Wilder is a spent force, way past his best. They're probably both past their best, let's be honest, 40 beyond 40 years old. But Wilder's been saying that, he's had problems the last few fights. I believe he went through a divorce. What do you think of Wilder and where he's at in his career?
Well, I mean, I met Deontay Wilder, and he strikes me as being a very honest and very open man. And if you talk to him, he'll bare his soul. Now, if he says he was going through a divorce, believe him, because I do. I've been through a very similar situation. When your personal life is in turmoil, it will affect your performance as a boxer, and I'm sure it would affect your performance or whatever job you were doing if you were going through that kind of thing. It's enough to throw anybody off key. I think the reality is with Chisora and Wilder, they may not be at their peak now, neither of them, which makes for a good fight because they can both punch. And as you know and I know, in the heavyweight division, the last thing to go is your punch. Now, Derek Chisora, he can punch. He proved that with the Joe Joyce fight. We know all about Deontay Wilder. We know how hard he hits and how destructive he can be. It's about who can turn the clock back. It's about just how much punishment Chisora can take, what's left in the tank. Because I tell you what, he was on the verge of getting stopped before he beat Joe Joyce. I promise you, if you watch the fight, he was hit, he was hurt, he was tired, he was on the ropes, waiting to get knocked out, and then he threw an almighty shot, I think it was an overhand right, and destroyed Joe Joyce. So Chisora's got an almighty punch. So you can't back against him.
Do you prefer this fight to the talk that they were saying about Oleksandr Usyk facing Deontay Wilder? Do you prefer this fight, or would you have preferred to see Usyk against Wilder to Wilder Chisora?
No, I prefer this fight. This is a much better fight. We're going to get the fight over here by the looks of it. It's a fight that Derek Chisora can almost certainly win. It just depends on how much punishment he has to take to get that victory. Because Wilder's not going to be there to play. Wilder's going to be in there to do what Deontay Wilder does, and that's knock somebody out. It depends on how much he's got left. So it's on paper, it's a very even money fight.
As I said, Usyk was, we thought, going to fight Wilder. Now there's rumours that he might fight Andy Ruiz later this year. What's your thoughts on that?
I can't really understand why he would fight Andy Ruiz. I'm not a promoter, I'm not a manager. I don't know where the attraction would be for a fight like that. I can understand the Wilder fight because Wilder's more sort of relevant, if you will. If he had have boxed Wilder, I'm sure everybody would want to see that fight. I don't know where the attraction would be to fight Andy Ruiz, and again, it will depend on where that fight is going to take place.